Go your own way, stones and shadows white, willows whisper of darkness deep and wide. In the forest, there is no place to hide. Strange bells, tonight I fear that I will not survive the dying of a light.
This is The Dying of the Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dungeons & Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world we've been developing together for a while. You can find out more about the collective as well as the stories we're telling at thestarfallcollective.com. We're back with a new episode. Let us find out once again who is in this episode. I am Sir Robert, a father and entrepreneur, and I am the host of this season's story. With me tonight are a few friends playing the characters in this drama. Please say your name, something about yourself if you like, and a brief description of the character you're playing. In particular, since we haven't done this in a while, please tell for the D&D fans in our listener base, please tell your character's level and class and race level class. Why don't we start with Jared?
Hey, my name's Jared. I am playing Yoshka, a level 4 human bard.
All right. Jacob.
Hi, my name is Jacob. I will be playing Talad, who is a second level, approaching third sorcerer. Human sorcerer.
Yep. Good. How about you, Matt?
Hi, my name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island. You can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, TALAMINI.com. I play the shirtless wizard Diamondback, a level 4 human wizard with snake tattoos. Doesn't wear a shirt.
And Pat?
Hey, yep, my bad. This has got a mute on the mic itself. I am Patrick. I am actually using a webcam right now. I'm a Void, and I am playing the character Toll. He is a level 3 half-orc druid, and he's trying to get the hang of the druid thing. He's starting to use his plant powers a little more.
Good. And you said level 3, right?
He is a level 3, yes.
All right, great. And can you turn your volume down just a touch? The sound's much better, but it just was a little crisp this time.
How's that?
Why don't we go?
Speaking at normal volume.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Dwight, how about you?
Hi, I am Belvari, a level 4 human druid. Is that everything?
Sure.
This week I am sponsored by
Almonds?
Coffee Cake.
Oh. All right.
Good and good for you.
Just
Josh, how about
cake.
you? Just coffee
Just
cake.
all the coffee cakes.
Big coffee cake.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I am playing Inkatink the Kinku, who is a level 3 sorcerer. He has many voices, but not one.
All right. And last and most, Aaron Joy.
By most, he means least because she's tiny. Level 3 forest gnome who's a cleric. She's old, or maybe not so old, depending on if you care about human age or forest gnome age. She's happy to manifest her oldness or not oldness as situations call for.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, previously on The Dying of the Light, our adventurers found themselves in the company of Lambril and Teko, two of the townsfolk of Sarakan, who are guiding them to the lake of the Baisugen. They were sent because of Yoshka's cryptic promise that they are moving towards the overthrowing of the Iron Bell. But Teko, at least, is mainly hoping to find something that may cure his daughter, who is somehow under the influence of the ghostly and enigmatic spirit of this lake. On the way, they had a harrowing near encounter with two spirits in the woods, known to local hunters as the Lovers. When Toll stumbled, they were barely able to avoid confrontation, thanks to the quick thinking of Diamondback, who caught his friend before his fall could disturb the apparitions. As they arrived at the lake, the Baisugen was nowhere to be seen. Instead, they saw in the faint twilight a shimmering white floatstone over the surface of the lake. Finding a lakeside place to set up camp for the night, they found themselves attacked by three aboleths, a vicious kind of creature hiding in the lake that appears as water but can take on other forms. No sooner had their attack begun than the party was rescued. Elvari shakes his head. They now found themselves and their campsite completely encircled by the manifold coils and twists of an enormous dragon. In the deepening gloam, they could faintly make out the greenish hue of its huge clattering scales. And now, tonight's episode. All right.
This one sounds like it'll be pretty slow and RP
Mellow.
driven, you know.
That's right. So, were you going to say something actually, Jared?
Yeah, there's an element that I had not been factoring in that's playing into what's now going on.
Do you want to say more about that, or are you?
I have something in the queue. I'll let you lead and then see
Okay.
if it.
Sounds good.
By the way, Patrick, everything is RP driven. When you cast every spell with heart.
I'll just say
That's right.
it. So, well, first to clarify, what was that thing? Did Inkatink leave? Is he with us, or did
He came back
he came back?
right as the Aboleth were attacking. He basically was. He heard the big clattering sound above, which turned out to be this dragon, but he was trying to lure it away by flying away. It did not take the bait.
Okay.
It was clearly not going to go after one Kenku when it had its sight set on engaging the whole.
Yeah. How long was he gone? Just
A minute.
A couple minutes.
Or how long were you gone, Inkatink?
Probably about 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Y'all were setting up camp y'all were getting ready to start camp on the black stone. It's twilight. It's like just got a little bit of light left. It's going to take an hour to set up the tiny hut was the plan.
Yeah.
And you're on this black stone that's jutting, 20 feet into the lake, this kind of circular black stone that's just barely above the surface of the lake. The water kind of lapping up onto the edge is how these aboleths kind of sneakily came up.
So there's a kink in Yoshka's plan that I realized after this. The spell Tiny Hut actually only takes 1 minute to cast.
Okay.
I don't know where I got an hour. So that probably would mean I figure it's an hour.
Yeah. Or either way,
And then-
there might be get some random like muck off of the stone from, or get all your belongings in place, figure out where the perimeter is going to be. A couple minutes.
So
Josh, are you saying something?
probably that
No,
would mean
I was.
I'll let you kind of form it as you will, but I was imagining that would probably mean something like Yoshika starts doing this spell, and then it like starts happening a lot sooner than he was expecting.
So
Inkatink's probably gone.
So the way I narrated it was I was just going by the hour that I heard. I didn't look myself. Sorry,
No,
I should have. But the way
it
I,
was.
yeah, right. The way I narrated it was that y'all were prepping to do the thing, and in the couple minutes before you got there, you were like, I don't know, maybe waiting for Lambrel or Teco to, scout out, make sure there's no creatures nearby and do whatever. They were all going by the sense of an hour too. So, and you all have to be inside the area for the entire time. So the way I narrated it was you were just waiting for everything to be ready and then you were going to start.
Okay.
So also you could have expected it to take an hour and it took a minute. Like that could be how it could go, but you haven't actually started yet. So just in how we narrated. Good.
And are we in combat?
You're not right now. You rolled initiative for the Aboleths, and then
Okay, we're taking care of
they went first, almost.
Speaking of things we didn't know, but then maybe it turns out we did. Some of us, but not me, knew that green dragons are typically bad. I did not know. Okay, now I know green dragons are not the kind that are naturally friendly to us, probably.
And your characters may have a sense of that. I'll leave it to you. My guess is that Inkatink, who has some sort of draconic nature to him, right? He has his scaly sorts of feathers, may know more about that kind of thing. Possible Diamondback might. He's kind of snakish oriented. I don't know whether the rest of you. I'll let you decide what your characters know about that kind of thing. It's okay with me. Whatever.
Or we could make nature checks to know about the nature of dragons.
Sure. Yeah, I'm game with that. I'm game
You're
for
the
that.
DM. It does. I don't.
I things. If you want to know what your character thinks and you know some lore, make a nature check and find out. That's okay with me on that kind of thing. I'll tell you if there's something I have that I would let you reveal. So. Okay, so for tonight's episode, you are standing on the edge of the lake. You now are surrounded by the twisted coils of this colossal creature looming maybe 20 feet over your heads. Its sinuous form feels like a kind of living barrow, 25 feet wide, pulsating with this great serpent's breaths. The already fading daylight has become almost black. A faint illumination from above reflects in and off the beast's scales, casting a dim greenish light. About 10 feet up, secured in the folds of the greater, a much smaller dragon can be seen, its own scales appearing a dingy reddish brown in the verdigritic light. The black stone under solid, but seems to be an endless abyss beneath your now barely visible feet. Josh, roll me 2d100.
Yes, sir. All right. Blue is the tens place, so 37 and 22.
Okay. These are your ability. You speak Draconic, right?
I do.
Okay. These are your ability to understand, that's the higher of the two, and produce, that's the lower of the two, the Draconic of this creature.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Okay.
All right. So the dragon has coiled itself around with a small hole. I say small, really with a, 10-foot diameter hole at the top of the set of coils, and you are inside its long body, the shelter formed by it. Suddenly, as its head is swinging around inside, peering at you, the walls around you seem to shimmer and quake with activity, and the scales make a series of clattering sounds. For a moment, you feel as though you can almost follow the motion, as if the clattering were running along portions of the dragon's body. Almost immediately, the younger creature's scales mimic it, clattering as well. Its smaller scales producing a distinct and higher pitched sound. For half a minute, the two seem to take turns making these sounds, one and then the other. As the head of the larger pendulously through the air of the makeshift cavern, seeming to examine each of you. Inkatink, you only can pick out this approximately from what you hear. I'm going to say this just matter-of-factly, Inkatink, this is sort of what you think you can piece together with the rolls you had. Sorry, I'm letting a kid run away. Okay. The naked. Yes. Behind. Yes, but different. Them too.
As soon as they start talking, Yoshika cautiously reaches into his component pouch and rubs something on his ears to help him understand them.
As that clattering, right at this point, you do?
As soon as they start talking.
Okay. The dragon rests, that goes on for a few seconds. The dragon rests its massive head and looks at Diamondback first, directly at Diamondback, and then swings slowly to Belvari. The larger of the two speaks.
I have come for you.
Looking at Diamondback.
And you.
Looking at Belvari. The
I
dragon
have this question.
falls.
Is it
Yeah.
speaking common?
It is.
Okay.
The dragon falls silent and remains deathly still, seeming not even to breathe. A few seconds pass, and then a few more.
Starts rubbing some oil on himself.
I mean,
Belvari is lathering himself up for a wrestle.
Diamondback, I believe, had a shirt on for this journey, and he will, because in the village he had covered himself up. So Diamondback is going to uncover his snake staff and hold that in one hand. He's going to drop anything that's covering his torso. I think he's probably got like a bedroll that's like obscuring his lower back. Throw off his shirt so
To
that
impress him.
so that his snake scale tattoos down his back are going to be visible.
Get the right dice.
And
as soon as you do, the two dragons flee in terror.
Yes!
I'm just kidding.
Problem solved!
and Diamondback will step forward and say, "My lord, I'm here."
I just asked Jacob to go get me my dice so I could roll something, but I'm gonna wait just a sec. Sorry for the delay. those of you listening to the podcast, you will not have heard this part, so we'll cut it in post.
Good job.
Thanks.
You know, there's
Listeners.
music playing though. I just realized, is my music that I'm playing gonna mess all this up? Hopefully
It's
not.
on a separate track.
I hope it's on a separate track.
Yeah. Riverside has not been great about actually giving us all the tracks, so I think you're gonna have to fall back on the YouTube. In which case, the
Okay.
music is gonna mess it up.
Well, we'll see what we can do. All right. You could stop the music if you wanted. So the seconds go by in the silence, and after it seems like it's been 10, 15 sort of agonizing seconds, Diamondback strips off his shirt, holds up his staff, and says to the larger dragon, say it again, please.
My lord, I'm here.
There is continued silence. There's continued silence. Suddenly, the smaller dragon begins to spasm fast, clattering in rapid bursts. A few seconds more, the larger dragon does the same, loud clatterings of its scales as the big muscular walls convulse. The dragon spits out a staccato burst of air at you. And you get the distinct impression that they're laughing.
Manlings, your flesh betrays you. Fear me not, little ones.
And he rolls his coils, and what you see, sorry, not yet, actually.
I have come because I owe you a debt. Tonight, that debt shall be paid.
The smaller dragon makes some more shimmering sounds, and some lights appear inside. You are now in a well-lit space, and this huge dragon twists its body, and though they stay in place, the sort of almost fuzzy-looking blue-green scales turn, and he seems to be showing you the underside, which have a distinctly more coppery hue.
Do I recognize my friend from before?
Roll me a history check.
Yes. I'm a wizard. I have +5 to history. But I rolled a 3, so that's an 8.
You suspect this might be your great grandfather. No, I'm just kidding. No, an 8's not bad.
Dragon.
That's right. An 8's not bad. No, you don't specifically, but something itches at the inner surface of your mind. The
I've undergone
dragon.
a lot since then.
It has been a while.
It makes sense that I wouldn't remember.
The dragon continues,
This wormling,
indicating the now more brightly lit, kind of reddish brown wormling resting on him.
is
Go ahead.
the last of my offspring and the first of my offspring in 1,000 years. In my youth, when this land was beautiful, before the arising of Megalithlith, I was one of many. But the black tendrils of their magic and the fetid waters that ruin the land have destroyed all but me. This one hatched so recently awakened my hope. When I could not find him, I began to burn with rage, but fell into a deathly grief. But then my beloved child returned to me. He has told me it was you who set him free from the accursed Fae who had bound him to consume him.
Bavaria all of a sudden goes, and he stops putting any oil on himself.
Nino pretty much does the opposite. She's been confused this entire time. So I rolled a nature check. I got a 10. What
Talon
does she
has
see going on?
literally no idea what anything is happening right now. Like, he has never seen or even thought he would see anything this size.
Everybody, if you would like, roll me a history check. Everybody except Talad. And wait, Toll, you don't get to roll this either.
Inkatink wasn't there.
Inkatink doesn't get to roll it either. That's right.
Wasn't in a...
Aaron Droid.
Or was that...
She did
That's
a.
too bad.
She did
I
a,
actually rolled decently.
she did a nature check. Here's what you know about this kind of thing. With a 10, you're vaguely aware that metal dragons are nicer than color dragons. And some of you may be generally aware that some dragons consider themselves funny.
Okay.
And I'll just tell you guys, copper dragons are some.
Okay.
Can I make a history check about the name Maycliffe Wintelith?
You may.
Okay, 18.
You know absolutely nothing about what's happening.
The name specifically?
No, that's what I mean, about that. You don't know anything at all.
Okay.
And I'll just tell the rest of you, none of you know that word, know those words.
I got a 10 on my history check.
Okay. Did anybody else roll a history check that could roll one? Nobody. Neno, did you roll a history check?
I didn't.
You were there for what you could know, so.
Yoshika's not gonna.
I'm going to do Aaron's history check.
Okay. So much history.
That's right. She's older. Is it still
And
rolling?
yet, only 2 worth of knowledge.
Oh, okay. Diamondback, you definitely remember. Belvari remembers. Yoshika, what'd you roll?
Yoshika's not trying to learn anything. This verse is coming into his mind. The serpent coiling round is Miradau. Those basket walls. Come speak, great shimmering room now laying round. Something's growing in him like that.
Okay. When y'all first left Miradau, those of you who were there, so Neno, at this point, Neno, Yoshika, Belvari, and Diamondback, the very as you left Miradau to go rescue Orden, you just happened to notice something in the woods, and you went and you slept in that one spot, and those meanlocks attacked you. Afterwards, Diamondback decided to go hunting for their nest. He remembered something that they might have treasure or something, and y'all found an overturned tree trunk that had a hollow deep into the ground. Belvari turned into some sort of primate, a chimp or orangutan. Diamondback down this muddy, terrible little hole where they found these roots wrapped around a copper dragon wormling. It was having an unending, ceaseless nightmare. Diamondback remembered that, I believe it was Diamondback, remembered that the Meanlocks feast they're a wicked fey creature that feast on the fear of other creatures. They have captured this copper dragon wormling and were torturing it in its dreams to feed psychically off of its agony. They set it free. It burst out of the thing and was in a wild panic and just fled. And you never saw it again until really, really recently. You do recall the clattering sound last time. You heard it on your way back during the false night. You heard it in the woods above you. You heard it again once in a while as you were traveling from Miradau to the Oravan. You heard it again in Sarakhan above the treetops. It was the clattering of its sound was what drew the undead, and now it has come again. And you were near to death, perhaps, from the Aboleth when this dragon intervened. It has said its part. Does anybody want to say anything?
And just real quick, I want to make sure I sort of almost didn't catch. You're saying that it pulled us into a lighted area or something? And
Y'all were on a circular sort of flat surface kind of jutting into the lake, and these aboleths came up at these water creatures. It vanquished them. It kind of bit them in half and then wrapped itself in coils around you and has created a dome of itself around you. You're in that room. It's got a little bit of an opening. It's night now. And the younger dragon, who's also in there resting in the coils, created some dancing lights. That's the spell. Created some lights and just made light for you to be comfortable.
And we noticed the copper color at that point.
It intentionally turned its belly, and you could see not the tarnished green of its outer scales, but it was apparently pranking you. And then revealed, nope, just me.
Gotcha.
As copper dragons are wont to do.
Well, then Diamondback will say, well met, friend. I trust that your dreams have been better of late.
The younger dragon does a quick set of clatterings, and the elder says,
His flesh is not yet of age to make your sounds. He says, thank you.
My pleasure.
I think Inkatink steps up and starts to try to speak, and you see he's doing like he's jerking his head forward and looks like he's like swallowing hard and looks really nervous, and he prostrates himself and lifts up his head just enough to speak and says in Draconic, he's talking and you hear him making a lot of sounds, but he only effectively manages to convey apologies, spell, majestic one, mercy, my blood, and then he says a name, Ithlakanerex, which is the name of his ancestor, and just says, mercy, please, mercy.
And the dragon, the elder dragon, they both kind of make the same sort of sounds. And he goes,
Fear not, little cousin.
I think if he calls me cousin, I would just about have to make a Constitution saving throw to not pass out from sheer euphoria.
do it.
Okay.
You interpret it.
Well, that's 14 plus 4 is 18.
He's at least got the vapors.
Yeah, Inkatink looks like he's just been given a kiss on the cheek by Marilyn Monroe or been hugged by Eddie Vedder or something.
Mm-hmm.
Fan-shaped hands.
That's right.
Diamondback,
He declares.
Diamondback definitely has stuff to say.
Of course he does.
I don't ever doubt it.
Go for it. I mean,
Okay, so
You're there.
Diamondback says, "My lord, it is such an honor to meet you. We have heard you many times in the trees at various dark seasons of great danger. I'm puzzled, my lord. Why do you allow the Iron Bell to rule these lands? Such power as you have. Why is it not? Why are you not the ruling power of this place?"
What is this Iron Bell?
Control the narrative, Matthew.
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, I think this is going to end up being some kind of persuasion check. And maybe if my bard friend could come in.
Whisper in my ear.
I don't know. I mean,
sweet somethings.
I don't feel like it's a hard sell that the Iron Bell are a net to convince him to actually help us do anything about it.
Green dragons are not metallic dragons.
And he's not a green dragon.
I thought he was a copper dragon. I thought he was a green dragon at first too.
No, the big one isn't the big one a green dragon. The little one's a copper dragon.
The big one is a copper dragon, but he's oxidized, so that's why he's green.
Dragon offspring work, Matt.
Oh, that changes everything. If they're both copper dragons, okay. I'm gonna gesture Yoshka up to me.
I'll give you some guidance if you want.
And he said, "What is this Iron Bell?"
Right. I say, if perhaps my allies could help me explain things.
Inkatink steps forward and whips out a whole bunch of minor illusion and starts showing, as Diamondback is explaining all this, Inkatink is showing images of the Iron Bell and then quoting them verbatim, in their voice, some of the things that they say, and shows some of their actions as he explains.
My lord, I grew up in a place where we worshipped snakes, as you can see from the marks on my body. You are much more mighty than a snake. I'm sure that if we had known, perhaps we would have lived differently. But my lord, all the human beings that live and all the gnomes and halflings and orcs that live in the wood are in continual suffering and torment, slavery, even genocide. My own village was entirely wiped out mercilessly by this evil tyranny that grips all the land as far as we know. We that you see before you are vagabonds driven from every place in continual fear of our lives before the Iron Bell, which is what the tyrants call themselves.
They are the
My
ones
lord.
who live at the headwaters. Forgive us if we do not know how to speak to you. We are small ones, and we speak of things in the small places. And we are very young.
And he turns to Yoshka. he acknowledges what you're saying, like he's paying attention. And when Yoshka speaks, he turns to him and says,
You have a way with words. Regale me with more, if you will. But do not be afraid, as I have said. You are friends to me, and I have come to repay a debt.
Well, thank you. We as my friend said, we will tell you our story and help you understand the small ways of the lowlanders, and perhaps you can help us on our way. We do have one great trouble, that a group of men who live by what we call the headwaters, where all the rivers come from. Have you seen this place?
I knew the place before it had the waters.
We have all been born never having even seen it. We only see the ones who come from it. We call them the bell because they come to us out in the forest, ringing a bell to take our children and our money, all the things that we have been working for. We have fled them and seen something perhaps you will know about. We have seen, well, in a dream, a parting of the great trees. Have you seen the shining lights beyond the trees?
Let me know your mind.
and sorry, that's a hard voice.
Yeah.
He casts a spell, which is, and you can feel something like thoughts next to your thoughts, and it's almost like the feeling of noticing that a cat is rubbing against your leg, like a sort of unintrusive, subtle feeling of pressing, except it's a really, really big cat. And he says,
You have a really big brain to be able to feel all that cat.
that's right. And he says, and he looks at Inkatink doing his illusions, and Diamondback in particular, who is given this account, and he says,
You are correct, but very wrong. Your flesh cannot see what my flesh can see.
Then teach us,
But-
Lord.
I will tell you. The lights of which you speak in the forest, they are not.
and he looks towards you, Yoshka,
What you believe.
and he looks back to Bavari and says,
This one will explain.
and you get the impression that it'll be sometime later, Bavari will tell you.
I know something you don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
And he says,
As for the parting of the trees, this was many, many years ago, before the Great Hole. After the trees parted, the hole began to grow in the forest.
and then he turns to Diamondback and Inkatink in particular, who were telling him about the Iron Bell. And he says,
The oppression you have felt is real, but you know not of what you speak. The men you fear live at the water's head. They are the glove that softens the blow of the hand that swings.
My lord,
Yoshka's wide-eyed.
my lord.
Is it the 6? Then?
and Diamondback, are you also going to say something? It's okay with me if y'all are both jumping in. That's anybody can jump in, and if you say them separately, we'll narrate it as you both are excitedly chiming in.
Yeah, Diamondback, I guess we'll say, my lord, with strength such as yours, it is no wonder our feebleness flees before a mere glove, but surely one such as you could easily destroy both hand and glove.
There are many that
Sorry, let me get the right word here.
there are many I heed not, such as the mistress of your chosen place. But Meslwin Tilwich, no, I cannot approach the coven.
Oh.
We are as children with these words. We have never heard of a coven. Down here, we only hear of what we call the 6.
And
Baritone
oh, sorry,
of
go.
the flayed hands in this region. Have you heard of these?
These are the coven of the darkness. These are the coven of the mist.
Nano is envisioning what she's going to needlepoint into her skirts later, and she chimes up loudly but with a trembling voice. Are they the fingers? And then blushes incredibly hot and can't believe she managed to pipe up at all and just kind of stand.
copper dragons are very sociable and love friendly banter and things, jokes and stories.
Also, I was reading, and apparently being in the presence of a copper dragon occasionally makes you burst out into laughter, even in very serious points. So just imagine Belvari's occasionally giggling.
The relief of nervous energy.
In their lairs, they have an ability to create a sudden burst of nitrous oxide, which makes everybody.
Gross.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's from the ground, not from them.
Oh,
Inkatink says in Draconic, because that's the only language he can make a kind of spontaneous conversation with him in, and even then it's terrible. But he says, your child, future land, cursed, tortured, sick. Your child, future land, hope, whole land. And he points at he points at Diamondback and the others, and he says, hate glove, and he tries to translate that word back into Draconic because he said it in common. He says hand, cursing hand, no more, land, whole, hope, for, and he points at his kid and says future, good future, no hand, no glove, no hand, good future. Takes him a long time to say it, but
And yeah, he says, he sort of chuckles again.
Maybe, little cousin, but it has been a long, long time. And it may be a long time still. I do not know the future.
Inkatink looks like he's running on, all the adrenaline his body can make. He looks elated that he's been addressed.
So Diamondback is going to say real quick to the dragon, my lord, allow me to speak with my friends for just a moment, and then we'll turn and try to talk to Belvari and anybody else who wants to come over and listen. And he says in sort of a quiet voice, not trying to really necessarily keep it completely secret from the dragon, but so maybe the dragon doesn't need to listen in if it doesn't want to, but could if it wanted to. Anyway.
And you can hear he and his wormling chatting a little bit, like just as y'all are talking.
Okay.
And the wormling, after a moment, takes off through the top into the night. Just leaves for a few minutes, maybe.
And Diamondback says, it appears that this dragon, as incomprehensible as this is to me, will not be able to overthrow the 6 evil gods, the coven, as he calls it, or the Iron Bell, who are their servants. But perhaps we could ask to dwell in the protection of the dragon. Perhaps it would allow us to establish a town or build fortifications, and the dragon itself could keep us safe from the Iron Bell. Or we could live in its lair. We could be its servants. Perhaps invite others who are suffering in the woods, others of goodwill or in great strength, to come with us, and eventually our strength would grow, and we could get great wizards together. And he's gonna name the name of that wizard who Garriott, and we could get Garriott and perhaps gather the remaining components for the wish spell, and this could be the way that the darkness is finally lifted from the land. It would be a lot of work, but I think there's no harm in asking.
Howard's going to interject and say, I'm pretty sure I've never seen a quote-unquote dragon before, but I can tell from its teeth and its general, eating of those squid creatures that it's probably going to eat us. I know two of you had a history, so it might spare you, but I'm still pretty sure I'm going to be digested in a few minutes.
Inkatink steps up to him and gets like eye to eye with him and says, "That would be an honor." And he kind of steps back and folds his arms.
Howard's going to go, okay, and just accept that everyone's gone insane.
If he wanted to eat us, he would have already.
And at that, you hear a little bit more of that staccato clattering from the walls.
If it's laughing.
Great snake,
I don't think you have to worry.
will you honor us with your name?
I will tell you. But your flesh cannot know the name of my flesh.
And you hear a series of clatterings from seemingly random parts of its body. And he says,
But I will tell you a name your flesh may know. You may know me as
I was going to write that down. I'm not going to write that down anymore.
And Yoshka laughs a little bit louder than, like, loud enough to make sure he hears. And says, our tongues will never do that.
Inkatink gives him a "what are you talking about" kind of look and repeats the sound perfectly.
that's right.
And then it goes, shush, 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 got it. Shush, 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 got it.
Well, we have so many questions we could ask you. We were seeking to deal with only the glove of the hand that strikes us. Do you know any way to deal with the coven? Can we help? If you cannot approach, do you know who can?
Always send us.
And he thinks for a minute. And he says,
I know a few things about this. Whatever lies within the whole is not vanquished by the mist.
Sorry. I got it. I have to drink some milk. Just a sec, sorry. For my throat. Go ahead.
We do not even know what this hole is.
The hole.
And he, excuse me, sort of indicates with his head a direction that y'all are on a certain part of the lake, and he's indicating basically something like northwest from your current location. That's going to be
where we were headed.
it's across the lake, past the lake. And he says, ooh, sorry, Jacob, will you give me a charger too? I appreciate it. I probably have 30, 40 seconds left of battery. Just kidding. And he says,
When the great trees opened above for but a moment, they shimmered and shone black, and later the whole was seen. This was many years ago. I do not know how many. 100, maybe 400, maybe more, maybe less. But the whole has grown and grown, and the mist assails it. If you were to walk towards the hole, the darkness of the mist is unthinkably deep. You would not see the day, probably ever again. However,
and he looks at Toll and says,
though I do not understand, your father's friend is my father's friend.
and he looks at at Belvari and says,
If you can stop the dying of the lights, they may help you find a way into the darkness of the hole.
excuse me. And then he says,
As you have traveled, I have watched to see what debt I may repay. But now I have seen the hidden wisdom of your flesh. I have a lair, and you have filled my lair.
and he indicates to where the wormling had been.
And so I have sought to grant you a lair of your own. But
Inkatink is hopping back and forth on either leg. He's like jumping up and down.
I did not know what lair you would choose. To my great surprise, you have chosen shrewdly.
Nano elbows Talon and says, "Oh goodness, did we choose the hole? Please tell me we didn't choose the hole. Did we choose the hole?"
Talon just looks at her and says, I literally have no idea what's happening. I'm still convinced we're about to be eaten.
Or I just laughs.
Excuse me. Does anybody else want to say anything, or he can continue?
Diamondback probably says something like, "Yes, Lord."
Yes, we did choose wisely. Aren't we so great?
And you're so astute. Anybody? Yoshika? It's okay if not. I just want to give you a chance. So this whole episode isn't just me rasping into the mic.
I think Inkatink says one near yours in Draconic.
Let's see.
I think what he means is, well, we would have the whole world to be our lair, and his, and everyone who is not oppressing.
Your flesh is amusing. If the world is a lair, then what is the world?
A place to live? A garden?
You have chosen your lair. Well, you may do with it what you will, and I will give it to you tonight.
And then he turns to Inkatink.
Is it near to mine, little cousin?
Crud.
It will always be near to mine.
Yes.
Yeah. Inkatink does the equivalent of like a little fist pump to himself.
Diamondback manages to maintain composure and does not fist pump.
Oh, it was a dignified one. I rolled a 22.
There you go.
The
Dignity check.
alternative was going to be that I like passed out or wet myself or laid an egg or something.
All of which would be awesome.
So if nobody else has anything to say about that, he'll continue. Okay.
Diamondback will be like, "Yes, my lord."
And he looks at Diamond in particular and laughs again, but it's a different kind of laugh, and says,
Your enthusiasm is delightful, but I cannot wait to hear the story that you have to tell when next we meet.
And you get the impression, all of you, that he's told some kind of inside joke that he has a lot of glee about. And he says, excuse me,
Would you have your lair now?
Nino kicks Belvari with a little pointed toe boot. Ouch! And says, ask him where it is.
I mean, he's gonna show us.
but Neno said.
Yeah, she kicks him again. I don't know if we want it now. Depends on where it is. Ask him where it is.
Inkatink produces a vial of his own blood and kind of gestures it. Not like he's not trying to make a sleight of hand check, but he's not doing it in a large, in a big overt way. But he kind of makes eye contact with Diamondback and gives him, kind of cocks his head and makes the symbol for home, and then shakes this and cocks his head at him.
My lord, all I have sought these many days since the destruction of my home is a safe place to sleep. If you can provide that for us, our gratefulness would be everlasting.
I shall repay my debt, and you shall owe me nothing. Oh, let it be. It will take me a little time, but you may rest here. I will be done before the daybreak.
No.
I will be done before the light.
And then, almost as though an afterthought, says, he seems to laugh and says,
What will you do with the mistress already here?
We do not know who even quite what we are doing here. What would you recommend?
Then we all have fun.
And-
Belvari chuckles and reaches out to the wall of this area, and he gives the dragon guidance. So on its next skill check, it gets +4. +1 before last fight. Maybe it'll get a little better layer,
he laughs again. He kind of begins to unroll himself. The lights are still there. It's been maybe a good half hour. You're not exactly sure. You basically had completely forgotten about the forest without.
Yeah.
You've been strangely safe here inside a dragon.
Strangely transported.
It starts to unroll itself, unweaving its curves, and the cavern is unfolding from around you, and you feel the night air, the cool breeze. At that moment, as it starts unraveling, it's still very high. It's still like kind of pulling itself out. The young one comes back, clattering and shaking, like not like shaking, but like, making its little communications, clattering and shivering, but very rapidly, nonstop. And the elder dragon here advises you, saying,
My child,
thanks,
tells that you may tend to, while I tend to your lair.
and he kind of points with his head as he's unfolding. Excuse me. He kind of points like southish, so south of the lake, generally sort of southward of the lake. He's unfolding, and he kind of the coils are spreading out, and this guy is big. This is the first time, because he came just in a sudden whatever, but as he's almost laying like along the lake's edge, and he covers a huge arc of it. You can't tell how far away the other end of him is, and his head goes off into the dark. Sorry, his neck side goes off into the darkness, and from the darkness folds back his neck, and his head is next to you. It says,
Tend to your business, and then tend to your sleep, and in the light you shall be home.
and his head, which is near you, sort of just not, it's graceful, but it's a little unexpected, just sort of slides and falls into the lake, and his whole body in after it. It takes about 30 seconds for it to get, and there's very little ripple. The little copper dragon clatters and is pointing itself. Only Inkatink can understand. It basically, Inkatink seems to be doing something like, saying something like, there, over there, over there, and making itself straight, right? And you see in the forest a white light through the trees, moving quickly through the trees. You can't see the light source, but you can see there is something. Roll me a history check, everybody. Belvari and Yoshka with advantage.
14.
Nothing. 1.
It's a nat 20 for Toll.
A natural 1 and a natural 20.
Inkatink is still basically staring at this dragon sliding into the water.
That's right. Toll, roll me another d20 that tells me the intensity of the critical success. Inkatink, roll me another d20 that tells me the intensity of the critical failure.
19.
Okay.
13.
I got a
17.
14.
Sorry, 17 for Inkatink,
13.
a 13, and a 17 for Toll?
Yep.
Okay.
14.
14, okay. Belvari and Yoshka, actually, everybody except Neno.
If there's any moment of pausing between the flopping in and the arresting of our attention toward the light, Neno is staring hard at the water and wondering how deep it is and how much of that water would count as underground, and if there is anything equally powerful in that water that would count as underground, the thing she's just met.
Fair enough. Give me a second, I'll address that. Belvari, sorry, let me actually start here. Everybody, think y'all rolled below the threshold. You recognize it. It is the same kind of light you saw in the false night. The same thing. not the same thing, the same character. It's one of those, whatever that is. Inkatink, you are 100% sure that you're supposed to be completely paying attention to the lake. You are not yet aware that there is anything like a light out there.
Okay.
Neno, I mean, that's what your like understanding of that was. Neno, you're distracted also and not thinking at all about this thing behind you where they're pointing. Belvari, it is at this moment that a lost memory
I was wondering when.
suddenly returns. You recognize the light from the forest of the false night, but you recognize it from something else as well. In the forest during the false night, you saw it moving quickly through the trees, and then you heard, and then the dying of that light. And this one bears a striking resemblance. I'll let you talk about that however you like. Once the copper dragon wormling sees that you are aware, it seems to dart upwards and make a place in the top of the canopy. You get the impression that it is doing something like waiting and obeying probably its, I don't know, great grandfather or whatever. It's ancestor there. The light is not far away. You think with a 30-second, not 30, maybe a minute, down this relatively steep hill, not like steep, but it's a strange flat hill up to the lake, this weird lake at the top of a hill. You can get into the area where this light is.
Before it takes off.
Belvari takes off. And
Did I not get any? Did you say anything
sorry.
about me?
Toll, yes. I apologize. Yes. You had a critical 20 with the 17. And I was going to say, Toll, this light, you recognize it actually from you were with these companions. Actually, the second night. The first night was deep in the thicket. But then you traveled a little bit as the false night was coming, and you also recognized the light that was in the woods that night. But sort of like Belvari, not exactly. You actually recognize the character of this light as, and you don't even exactly know how to categorize this. You're pretty sure you have something like maybe the memory of someone else's memory or something like that, because in your mind, it's the same kind of thing you saw maybe in a dream once or something when you were in a town drinking an ale as the dancers danced. Does that make some kind of sense to you?
So I the light reminds me of a dream where I was in a town drinking.
Yeah. Do you remember what I'm referring to?
Yeah, I think I do, and I don't remember when exactly that happened, but
That's okay. It's vague, and it was a strange experience for you. So anyway, that's that. It is the same character of light that's so different because it's so white, almost a bluish white, and it's so different than the yellow green light normally in the forest or the kind of darkish light here. So Belvari bolts off down the hill. Yoshka almost immediately takes off after him. Neno.
Are you guys running to or from the light?
Neno and Inkatink are facing the water because of this serpent, this great dragon that just went scuba diving or whatever, immersed itself in the water. And this is where we'll take our 10-minute break. So we're back at 9:05. Thanks.
Yay.
Whoa, so cool.
Wow.
It's like
Wow.
they're running fun. Their understanding of what's going on is quite different than mine.
Glad they're still
So we
alive.
get to have a home if we
Oh,
survive.
man. That was so cool.
We get to have a.
It was like a
lair.
creature becomes this great shimmering room about us. And they're strangely transported to it's like somehow we're taken far away by being taken within. Not some other direction, but within.
Yeah, I was going to say we were imported
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
more than transported.
It was really cool to watch, because I'm paying attention to, just to tell you, it was really cool to watch all of you forget the night. It was neat. All right, I'm gonna go not talk for a minute.
Yeah.
Good call.
Like you should drink some hot tea with lemon and honey or something.
It's a good
Speaking
idea.
of, sir, did I make all your tea?
Oh no,
Did you
no,
get
no.
any from
Yeah,
that?
first.
I'll make some more right now too. It makes several pots with the same. I apparently used a lot of tea.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, I'll get more.
The leaves look fresher like this.
They look more plant-like.
Yeah.
Nose.
That was so cool.
So like isopropyl has soot when you burn it.
So if you get like really pure isopropyl, almost no soot, but it's not super easy to get really pure isopropyl.
Yeah.
You know, like if you get it at 50% or 90%, which I've tried, the entire bottom half is black.
I don't know.
I don't think I quite understand how much of this, like, I don't know if this evaporates quickly or what.
I think with that on, it would often did it come with a little cap for that? Or like
No,
yeah,
but this
with-
turns this way, but it's not like
Yeah.
sealing it or anything.
Yeah, I bet you can get a little cover just to. It shouldn't have evaporated too quickly. I mean, the wick is designed to pull it out, but
It's a pretty cool lighter.
it's not like
Yeah.
Butane or something?
Butane, that's my cigar lighter.
Alright.
I was tired of using 4 matches to get.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
You had to use 4 matches?
To get it, if some of the cigars like are really thick and densely rolled,
Ah.
and so it'll burn down, but that one I can just and it's like more intense.
Wow. How does it work? Can I do it?
Yeah. Open the lid, the little,
Is this the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
and now click the little button.
Oh, just like a lighter.
Yeah.
Like
They
this?
do it on. Yeah, they did it that way so you could know
Oh,
how
it's
to
not
do it.
going to come out here.
That's how
Okay.
you fill it.
Okay.
it's actually a
Push
jug
all the way
lighter. It
Okay.
does come out.
Just push and hold.
Wow.
Kind of fun.
That is cool. Where did you get that?
JR Cigars. I
It's specifically a cigar lighter.
It's just one that I saw recommended for cigars, but it's, yeah. It was not like one of the nicest or anything. It was like $8, $10.
That's pretty cool.
But it's refillable, and it's nice, and it it doesn't have to have a little flickering flame. It's like goes where I want it to.
Yeah.
I have honey here if you want some.
You could make a tiny, what are those called?
Crepe.
You crisp them on top with, it's like
Or creme brulee.
Creme brulee.
Can and I could and I what is it? I could and I would and I will. It's a great song. It's a terrible song, but it's a good one.
I don't know it.
That was at the end of his rope. An expression he detested. There is no rope, he would yell at the laughing walls. You know,
This is the dead milkman.
that's King Missile.
Ah. It's a 50-50 with Survivor.
That's that one that ends. He's ranting about it. All life on earth was replaced by machines 5 centuries ago by Jehovah One. And then it ends. Pain is better than nothing. Nothing is better. Sorry, pain is better than emptiness. Emptiness is better than nothing. And nothing is better than this. Cool sets of juxtapositions.
Ed?
Ed, yeah.
Is that one of those like real, what would you call, something like sacrilegious or something, but
No, it's
also really witty?
it's witty
Songs?
and kind of
Like Jesus is so cool, as cool as my brownies or special brownies or something.
it just said he could make the most delicious brownies you ever tasted.
Okay.
Particularly sacrilegious. I don't even
Are you
know if
saying
it has
Jesus
much
couldn't make
profanity.
the most delicious brownies you ever did?
Have you heard the song?
There was just this other one that was like a certain kind of mocking.
But if you take it as
Also witty.
sincere, it's actually pretty good. Just you could dance better than Baryshnikov. You could play hockey better than Wayne Gretzky. I mean, it's clearly attempting to mock, but like, I don't care. I mean, in a certain way, like, if I take it the other way, I get to.
Yeah.
So I tried to initiate my daughter into the reasons why everybody wants a prosthetic forehead on their real head. She was not impressed.
My kids are skeptical too, although they do like a lot of the TMBG songs. Especially Elliot likes, please pass the milk, please. Please pass the milk, please. That's the whole song.
I wrote a paper in seminary called They Might Be Nephilim. And I was really proud of that. I thought it was good. Nobody got it.
Oh, in seminary, nobody got it?
Nobody.
Sorry.
Eh,
I feel
it
like
happens.
That's a likely audience.
C'est la vie, c'est la guerre.
It's actually not gas.
Okay.
Hi there.
Whoa! He is really
loud.
there.
Did you say
What?
you have a picture this week?
Say that again, Aaron.
What?
I asked this toll on there, and then when there was a blast of sound, which I assumed was him replying, I said, did you say you have a picture this week?
That was Matt, by the way.
But I am here.
Matt leaned in.
You up here. If you have a
This
picture,
is
I'd like to
Matthew.
look. I've never seen you.
Matt, you're too loud.
Matt, your mic is crazy hot. It's molten.
Well, I'm far away. I'm far away from it when I'm normally speaking.
Doesn't look like
He was trying to first base it with
It
that
felt
microphone.
because of bandwidth.
Yes, Sir Robert, your video cut out for a little while for bandwidth reasons.
Yeah, yours are all cut out right now for bandwidth reasons.
Oh,
Really? I've got all
I mean,
three of you guys.
yeah, not on the streaming,
Yeah, presumably it's on my side. It's
not on the stream, but for you.
I don't believe in video.
I believe in swordfish.
Swordfish, I might be able to be talked into.
but only because of Hugh Jackman's compelling performance.
As a swordfish.
Mm-hmm. Hugh
It's a
Jackman
song.
played a swordfish. It was a biopic.
Was it the old man in the sea?
He had to hunt for himself, catch himself, and clean himself.
Robert Duvall just died, right?
What?
I don't think
I hope not.
Louis Anderson died.
Meatloaf just died.
Really?
Maybe I'm wrong.
And that's 3. We can't have any more immediately.
And,
Check.
what's
I
his
could be
name?
wrong. If you don't mind checking.
I don't believe in reason, objective reality, or collective farming.
Isn't that a great part of the song? That's such a good song. I remembered it from when I was a teenager. I was like, yeah, man.
Yeah, Wikipedia doesn't have a death date.
I don't believe in life or death. I would kill myself, but I don't believe in suicide.
I think Robert Duvall's still alive.
Good.
Mm. 91.
Okay. Maybe I just wasn't thinking, or maybe I wasn't thinking of something else.
Probably thinking of Meatloaf.
Maybe.
Basically the same guy.
I always get them confused.
Some
No, I get
slow cooker
Meatloaf
brand,
and, Rip
uh,
Ford and stuff.
What'd you say, Pat?
some slow cooker posted like a recipe for meatloaf on the day Meatloaf died, just by complete serendipity and happenstance.
That's
Yeah.
pretty intense.
Yeah, isn't that unfortunate?
Too soon.
We had meatloaf recently. I wonder if it was the same day.
They should have let it simmer.
You don't simmer meatloaf, Josh.
Not with that attitude.
I actually don't know if you simmer meatloaf. I don't think you do. I guess you just bake it, probably.
Yeah, you just bake it. You don't simmer.
The key is to prepare it with confidence.
Great condiment to eat with ketchup.
There's nothing that microbes find more intimidating than confidence.
Not true.
Diamondback is going to cast some spells preparatory to this encounter.
I believe you.
Like on the way over there, so don't jump us right into combat. Got something to do on the way down this hill.
Excuse me, Mr. DM. Could you please give me 1d6 rounds to prepare myself?
He said it's 30 seconds away.
Indeed.
Yeah,
he
it's a
did.
good little distance.
Yeah, that's
a jog.
like 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah, it could be a minute. Like, I mean, like it's down a hill and it's moving, and you're trying to figure out what's what.
Yep. I mean, I can, or do we want to be back in? Tell me. Yeah, never mind. We're not back in yet.
Okay.
I
We're
mean, I
ready.
never stopped the stream. We've been on the stream the whole time.
Yeah, of course.
Including all of us talking. I was talking bad about watchers.
Sorry. I don't, this,
All right.
it doesn't have like, you would have to mute yourself if you wanted to not be on the stream.
I'm always muting myself, but some people are just picking up my audio and putting it out there.
I need to add in. I just realized. LT says we're used to it.
Getting talked bad about.
I just realized I need to real quickly add in Lambrel and Teco.
Right, they're here.
The whole snake dragon encounter.
They're weirded out, man.
I was going to say, cowering is a pretty natural thing for some people in their position to do.
We look at him and be like, oh yeah, we forgot to tell you about our dragon buddy. We go,
This is totally normal for us. We are always talking to dragons like this. We have a lot of friends.
They pieced out when Diamondback took off his shirt.
This calls for a little
that was
bare-chested
hilarious-
diplomacy.
That was a hilarious greeting, Matt.
All right.
Yeah, that's what he thought it was evil. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking, should I trust Diamondback?
That's right.
A lot of confidence in his swollenness.
His rippling
Diamondback thought he
ass.
saw a green dragon and was like,
Yeah.
yes, my lord and
Lord.
master, command me and your other evil legions.
That's right. I, for one, welcome our ant overlords, our insect overlords. All right, okay, let's get back into it. Welcome back. Excuse me. This is The Dying of the Light, Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. As usual, I'm going to elide the introduction on the second portion of this stream and figure out in post if that makes any sense when I get here. If not, I certainly won't have done it. So yeah, let's get into this. I'll just let you know, just for fun, I don't usually, but I title every encounter. I suppose, strictly speaking, I end title every encounter. And just for fun, I'll tell you this time, this one is called Cornugoria. All right. So, yeah, so you guys have just had a whirlwind set of experiences, and are you were directed, I guess is the good way to say it, to to pay attention towards a light in the forest. The light that you see, most of you recognized as that same one you encountered, a similar light to the same kind of light that you encountered from a distance in the false night near Miradau, when things were going crazy there.
Quick, when you said that there was a series of memories that I remembered, that's the whole.
Yeah.
I know all of that.
You now have nothing suppressed.
Gotcha.
So, and the reason is because you recognized this light.
Gotcha.
Right. So, excuse me, you are running down this incline. As you're running, you've got probably 30 seconds, ish, 15, 30, 45 seconds a minute to get there, all of you as a group. A few of you will arrive first. Probably Bilvari is going to be the first because he took off, and Yoshika right with him. Is anybody going to be doing anything in this?
Yes.
Tell me. Tell us all.
Yeah, so Diamondback is going to, real quick, just cast a couple spells. And I think that Tall and Neno and Diamondback are each going to get a dose of false life. So go ahead and add 1d4 plus 4 temporary hit points to yourself. Those of you who get false life. This is a creepy necromantic spell that sort of artificially makes you tougher. So you get some temporary hit points from that.
Diamondback. I am naturally
And
shy.
then Diamondback is also going to bust out mage armor on himself, which is going to bring his AC up to 16.
Good idea.
That's on the way there. So that takes that's 4 actions. So that's like 24 seconds down the hill. That's all done.
Now, go ahead.
Is Inkatink still by me at the dragon at this second or at this moment?
He's by the water's edge. You're now. If nobody says to you and Neno, "Hey," then y'all will stay there.
Hey, let's go down.
Well, I want to ask the dragon something before we go, because it's still there, right?
Real quickly, if you'll pull your mic down just a little bit, Pat. It's a little hot again.
No, the dragon went into the lake.
No, but the
big dragon went into the lake. The little dragon ascended to the canopy, presumably for safety.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I'm just gonna go.
Okay. It's a wormling, which you all recognized before, and it's small enough that it's roughly the size of you guys. It is not a big, tough dragon. Okay. So Inkatink and Neno, y'all are looking at where this dragon has disappeared, but you hear some footfalls behind you running away from the lake, and Belvari shout out an exhortation. What do you do?
I turn and sprint after them. I run over and I grab Nino by the hand, and then we run together.
No?
And I shout back over my shoulder to Talad, who Neno calls boy, and to the new people whose names she cannot remember, which is unlike her. She's really very good with names. But she says, boy, friends, come on, protect the light.
Lambrel and Teco for the players here. Lambrel and Teco, are really way out of their leagues as far as just life experiences. Teco maybe a little less. He was not shaken by the lovers that you encounter, those spectral apparitions. But this whole dragon thing is pretty intense, and the fact that it seemed to say that it owed you something, they're not sure what to make of you guys and are more or less doing what they're told because
approximately what dragon, because you were just discussing as peers with the dragon.
to their perception, except for Talad freaking out like they were.
Yoshka, after running down a little bit, remembers himself and waits for everybody to catch up and kind of bring to them. We are the same. Remember, we were like children to you while we came. And now you see there are some things that are new to you as well.
Diamondback, it goes into the full strategy mode and instructs in a commanding voice the two of them to follow Belvari and do what he says. Hoping, and Matt, the player, is hoping to make a persuasion check.
Yeah. They basically just do as they're told. They
okay.
run with you all.
I've instructed them to follow Belvari and do what he says.
Yeah.
And so also I yell out, and don't worry if he turns into an animal. It's cool.
I'm not supposed to tell him what to do when I'm in an animal.
Neno files that action away as a remarkable character development for Diamondback. Grow up into a nice young man right before her eyes to offload authority like that.
That's right. So everybody has done whatever they're going to do?
Yep.
All right. You guys, nothing could, surprise you with all you've seen. In the forest, you cross the sort of threshold of trees, and the low trees to this lake, right? Like I said, this is a significantly sized lake. It's not huge, but pond, right? And so the canopy, though the leaves of these trees kind of stretch up and they get near it, only the great canopy is above the lake. Like it's way high. It's covered. This kind of thing is not unheard of. It's just uncommon. There are places where the rivers are so wide that there might be a great canopy or whatever. Excuse me. But there were no trees growing on this strangely flat hill going up to the lake. I say flat, I mean even, not horizontal. As you catch hold of where these trees are, in the forest, you see just a fantastical light. It's brilliant white, unlike the normal yellow-green daylight of the forest or the orange light of torches. It glows with a purity and whiteness that is strange to your eyes, almost as though it were more than a color, but maybe a kind of feeling of peace within you as well. So, as I mentioned, some of you recognize this light more directly than others. So some of you, remember it from a distance, and some of you maybe a little closer. As you come close through the woods, you actually see the light, and it seems to have stopped moving. You see a beautiful golden white horse. It's illuminating the night woods all around it. It has a single gleaming silvery horn emerging from the center of its head. It seems to have tried to run between two trees, but it can't. It's just writhing in pain, stuck. And you realize, as each of you comes in and sees it, it has a vicious spear of gnarled wood embedded in its flank, almost a grotesque parody of the elegant horn. The spear has become lodged against the two trunks, trapping this piteous creature. Coming to surround it, laughing and jeering, maybe a half dozen ghoulish forms, perhaps once orcs or humans. They're seeming to revel in its agony and fear. And as you come into the light of this unicorn and begin to smell their fetid stench, some of the ghouls turn towards you. So you roll initiative.
We don't get a surprise, I guess.
They're in the throes of playing.
We didn't say we were
13.
trying to sneak up on them.
13 for Inkatink.
12 for Diamondback.
Okay.
Not a nat one, but a one.
Tripped as he was approaching and fell into a hole and got covered up by leaves. And
Sorry, Neno, what did you have?
It's still rolling.
Oh, Yoshka?
Jacob has the dice.
Can I use one of yours?
Belvar, you had a 2?
Yeah.
And Toll, you had a 1?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Neno has 8.
6.
6. Wow. For Yoshka. And Splint. I mean, not Splint. Talid. Although, unfortunately, Splint's thing is still here, so just keep track for me.
I rolled an 8, which is not good. I'll check the modifier now. Just
Keep going.
that up.
Yep. Excuse me.
It's actually pretty good for our group.
oh, well.
They had a 1, 6, 2, 8, 6.
Leader of the pack.
That's right. What do you have?
It's still moving.
Oh, okay.
Make the orcs roll higher, just so that.
That's right.
Give me 1 second here.
I've got oops. Not my encounters, that's it. Campaigns.
Champagne.
Do. Is it gonna open? Okay. I'm gonna auto roll these guys. I don't want to. I'm not sure what D&D Beyond is going to do if I click auto roll for the unfilled ones. So I don't know if it'll set yours, Jacob. So I'm gonna add a +2.
All right.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
What was your roll?
I got an 8.
So you got a 10.
Nice.
All right. And I'm going to auto roll the bad guys. Okay, great. It did not care. All right. I'm going to uncharacteristically for me, I'm going to tell you what the creatures are you're seeing because, well, for various reasons. It's really more for the audience to know what's happening. You see number of creatures here that are of some concern. There is a evil, kind of wicked-looking wight. You see 5 ghouls. Ghouls, you will have heard from the people at Saracon, are undead who are filled with a kind of loathing of the living because they know what they've lost.
I'm actually friends with them.
There is the unicorn wedged with it in these 2 trees, not able to do much. A banshee. It is the ghastly spirit of a woman caught up in her inner machinations of her soul, even in the afterlife. And these are all tormenting this unicorn, ready to kill it. The wight has a spectral sword that it uses, and it appears perhaps to be in charge. The others, at least, are paying attention to it a certain way. Maybe it's unclear whether the wight or the banshee, but these 2 spectral forms seem to be directing the flow in the few moments that you have to see. But the wight pulls out its sword and makes a attack towards this unicorn, which I think needs to go this way. All right. And it hits. This spectral sword kind of actually has a strange effect as it comes through the light of the unicorn shining out. The sword itself is
So like the whole light was coming from the unicorn?
The unicorn is emitting this light. Its body, its fur, its being is imbued this way. I'm going to roll these out. Okay. So, and the unicorn just takes a kind of brutal wound. The wight is in front of the unicorn. A slash to its foreleg, right on the muscle of it, taking a heavy blow. Sorry, I'm remembering how to use this. There we go. Okay, great. Next, one of the 2, actually 2 of the ghouls are kind of drooling. They have a hunger for the flesh of the living, and more so, it seems, perhaps, for this creature. And they run at it with jaws that bite, claws that catch. And both of them make biting motions towards the rear of this unicorn. They're coming from behind it, and one of them completely misses. The unicorn is able to fend it off with its hoof, kicking behind it. The other one hits very hard. It gets a really good bite, just right out of the muscle, doing really ripping out a small flesh, trying to devour this creature. Inkatink, you come into the forest here and see this happening. What do you do?
Inkatink sees these evil creatures and casts Sacred Flame on the wight that has the sword, and he needs to make a DC 13 Dexterity saving throw or take radiant damage. I'm hoping that if he's evil, he'll take double damage from radiant.
Okay.
Sorry, I heard you say he is, but then you went all square on me.
Yeah, I also don't have Sir Robert right now.
Oh,
And-
nose.
And he looks just positively nonplussed. Oh, there he goes.
There he goes.
I picked such an effective spell that I ended the combat.
And for sure, Riverside is not going to have successfully recorded his audio.
Oh, are you starting to sour on Riverside?
It claims to be able to get individual tracks, and it does like sometimes, but sometimes it just doesn't. Like if the person's browser crashes.
Yeah. It's got to be a tough technical problem to solve.
Yeah, I think the data is living in the browser's cache somewhere.
There are certain things that really probably shouldn't be a web app.
This should
And
not
people
run on
don't
a
like
browser. It's not.
people don't like to hear that. But like this is a platform that would benefit greatly from having a few gigs available to it on your machine
Yeah,
to
it
store
doesn't-
everything locally, even if you do get kicked off of your Wi-Fi or whatever. But it can't do that because it's a browser.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear us?
Hey, Sir Robert.
Yes.
All right. Sorry about that. So, Inkatink, he missed. He got a 5 on his dex check. So, and he is evil. So, what happens? Or it is evil.
Okay.
You there?
I think you just tried to cast
He
a
frozen
spell,
again.
I did cast a spell,
and Sir Robert
it
just
is
told you that the bad guy failed its save.
okay. So he's gonna take if he's evil, does he take double damage from radiant damage as an undead kind of creature?
Not unless it says so on the spell. Or yeah, Sir Robert should also check the
Well, yeah, he
The monster's
himself,
stat
the
block.
character, might take double damage from radiant damage.
What's the spell?
Sacred Flame. It does radiant damage type.
Okay. Let's take a look.
yeah, it doesn't.
That, so no.
Okay. Still, I rolled a 7, so he takes 7 radiant damage.
Awesome. Okay. Lambro is. This is more in.
He doesn't like it,
But
he at least knows what's happening.
Good for him. Tao still doesn't know. Not until we get underground.
Lambro.
Even then, I'm not the expert.
Lambro picks out one of these ghouls who seems a likely target, and elbowing Teko to work with him because they work together well. They know each other. He makes an attack on this ghoul. Oops.
On the
Which
white,
hits.
you mean? Or is ghouls? They're
No,
ghouls.
it's
I'm sorry.
one of the ghouls. Yeah, which he hits, doing a goodly little damage. He is able to deftly get in and hit him for a chunk of damage. As he does so, as
Diamondback has an opportunity to do something.
Yeah, so Diamondback
What do you
is
do?
Diamondback is going to say to his allies the name of a spell, which is protection from good and evil. It's just gonna. Some of them may have it. Diamondback knows about it. He can't cast it himself, but if somebody has it, it's a great spell for this encounter.
scenario.
Diamondback knows all about undead, so like he's gonna say protection from good and evil if you have it, and then he's going to having follow Inkatink's lead. Am I within? Hold on, sorry. Uh, uh, 60 feet of the white.
You are.
Cool. So it's going to get a dose of fairy fire. And any
And just to
other
let you know, go
any
ahead.
other ghouls or the banshee, if I can get it within a 20-foot cube of the white, I want to try and get those two in the area of effect.
And you can select, right, which creatures it would target.
Any creature in the area when the spell is cast.
Okay, so you're going to hit the unicorn too.
Can I cast it in such a way as it hits the white and maybe a ghoul, but not the unicorn? I don't want to hit the unicorn with this.
Yes, you can do that. The white will not be the center of the attack. It made a melee attack against the unicorn and is right near it.
Yeah, so I'll put the white on the edge of it and some bad guys in the rest of the cube if I can. However many you think is right.
Yeah, you'll get two of them.
Including the white?
So
the
they all should make a dexterity saving throw.
Indeed, they should.
Against a 13.
All right. The first one passes.
Was that the white?
That was the ghoul, one of the ghouls.
Oh,
the other ghoul also passes with a 21. And the white fails with a 9.
Yes.
So you all see like ghostly pale fairy fire lights outlining the white, so that making it like a very easy target.
What color did you select? It's already glowing a spectral gray.
Right, so it's going to be green.
Okay, Jacob, you get Roscoe.
So it's going to shed some light in a 10-foot radius, and any attack roll against the white has advantage as long as you can see the white and its glowingness for 1 minute.
And
good.
Can I? I didn't move or anything at the end of my turn. Inkatink launches up into the air.
How?
He only used half of his flight. So
does
he
it run out though?
You used it all.
I thought we said that I did it for 5 minutes.
When you use it, it's 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's
Inkatink does not do that. Inkatink jumps up in the air and then stomps his foot on the ground.
And then Diamondback is going to move so that he's in the back of his group and has some allies in front of him, if I can.
Using us as shields, I see.
Yes, definitely using like Belvari and Tal and Yoshka as shields, if I can.
All right. You do that, Diamondback. One of the ghouls. Sorry, 1 second here. I'm making a little bit of a picture so I can. One of the ghouls that nearest where you guys came in, seeing you, reaches out its long, overgrown, raggedy nails coming out of its hand of this orc or half orc creature, and slashes at Belvari.
How well?
It rolls an 11. Does that hit you?
It ties my armor class.
And Ty, I forgot, goes to the.
You hit it, right?
It does hit.
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
so, yeah.
Okay. So this ghoul slashing at you does 6 damage. Also, you need to do a DC 10.
How That was a 5.
It is not great for you. You don't take any more damage, but you're paralyzed for a minute. The target that you, of course, can repeat the same saving throw at the end of each turn and will end the effect if you succeed. So it's a DC 10. If you succeed, you'll come out of that paralysis. Its claws have, raked into you and given you a ghastly, terrible
Now there's
fright.
a column for Diamondback to hide behind.
That's right. Or a ram for him to batter with. Let's see. That was that ghoul. It's your turn, Talid.
Right. Talon doesn't know what he should do, but he should know that. But he knows enough that people that are attacking other people are not the best of people. He's not sure that they're people, but still, he is going to just reach in his component pouch, the one he stole from Spolash, I think, and just pick out a combination of offensive spells and just cast it at some random person.
One of the bad guys.
One of them.
Which
at random.
which one did you what did you cast?
Also at random.
Tell me. Oh, you don't have your component pouch?
Yes.
What? That's no problem.
I have no charge in my computer.
Got Totally.
Something helpful.
Yeah, no problem. Give me 1 second to pull up your. It'll take me a second to pull up your component pouch.
Great workaround for that problem.
Yeah, that was really good.
Hopefully, I'll just throw the entire component pouch.
Unfortunately,
something.
Unfortunately, you just throw the component patch at him and it catches it, and then it starts reaching.
That's right.
I'm telling me what this one is.
Do we have Diamondback's heat metal clusters?
No, he took those back. If you gave it up.
Yeah, we didn't actually do the plan, but I'm not sure if we can tell whether the white has metal armor on or not.
All right. Here we go.
Well, I can't because I'm paralyzed.
And that plan is for Iron Bell only.
Hey, it works on anybody that got metal.
I'm going to give you. I'm just going to pick for you, if that's okay, semi-randomly. Acid splash.
Nice.
Don't get any on the unicorn.
And you're picking a random target?
Yep.
Okay. I will roll a die for that. All right.
I'm missing
That is.
unicorn.
No, you did fine. Bubble of acid, 2 creatures, dex saving throw. That gives me everything I need to. Thank you. Sorry for that. Taking a minute. I had to get ready. You reach into your pouch and crush components, and this bubble of like almost a gel forms in your hand, which you just hurl straight at the Banshee. The Banshee, I'm just making sure that they're not immune to it or anything. Nope. Okay. The Banshee makes a saving throw. It fails, and it takes a chunk of damage. Good job. The acid splashes on a part of it. It's not completely incorporeal. It kind of moves in and out, which is, of course, how it's able to attack things like a unicorn. And though it seems like the acid kind of splashes through it, some of it sticks against its, bones and decrepit flesh, taking some damage. 5. Bam. You did 5 damage. Neno, you're up.
Okay. Nina was going to try and follow Inky Tink with this sacred flame, but she heard the call for protection from good and evil. And in the third of a second or whatever she's had to process this, she's decided to go for it. Not sure she can get through enough to touch the unicorn, but she's sure gonna try. She's gonna come from the behind side that
Mhm.
that has that opening because of the one really big hit. She casts protection from good and zips up as low to the ground as she can get, and then jumps up high to touch the flank of the unicorn.
All right. And just to let you know, that puts you within really close to one of the ghouls and one white,
Yeah.
and the white, which means it's totally fine, by the way. But that means if you were to run away right now, they'd have opportunity attacks. Actually, they wouldn't. They did their actions already, right?
It's a reaction.
No, they have one reaction, so they each would have that opportunity attack. Okay, so just to let you know, I wanted to make sure you understood the lay of the land. And this was
Yeah, I think with Minnows' savvy warriorness, her best plan is get close and touch, and that's as far ahead as she's thought.
okay. Just to let you audience members know, until the spell ends, one willing creature you touch is protected against certain types of creatures: aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, undead. It grants several benefits. Creatures of those types have disadvantage on attack rolls against the target. And then the target can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed. If it already is, the target has advantage on any new savings throw against that effect. Okay, good. The unicorn is willing, although it's not particularly aware of you. It's just willing for help, and it does not sense evil from you in this. It is no, thank you. It is the unicorn's turn. It is wedged in place, but it can you see the unicorn sort of shiver and quake its skin and flesh kind of like rippling as though with restrained strength. It still can't move, but it creates a shimmering magical field around itself. And this is a legendary action of unicorns in D&D lore called Shimmering Shield, around itself and another creature it can see, which it picks Neno. You gain +2 bonus AC until the end of its next turn. You're both covered with a shimmering silvery aura as it quivers to protect you too.
And a BFF locket?
That's right. This banshee. Sorry, go ahead.
That's just like, I'm just thinking of my sister when she was 10. That would be like a really good dream she had.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm just reading real quickly. Target is immune. Okay. This banshee is going to it moves towards the unicorn still. It was attacked by something it wasn't really paying attention to for some damage, but it's still focused on, and it is screeching and howling as it moves, floating through the air towards the unicorn. It makes a melee spell attack. It uses a corrupting touch, which... Wow, that was kind of cool.
Wow.
For which it rolls a 16, which does hit. And it does...
Even with that +2.
It does 11 necrotic damage to this shining life source.
I'm glad I'm paralyzed. That's what I get for running down the hill.
There is a ghoul farthest away from any of you. It's kind of on the other side of where you came in. It just runs forward, also clawing at this poor creature. It misses. It reaches into claw at it, but can't because of the unicorn's presumably radiating silver or a shield. Yoshka, seeing all this happen as you burst into the scene, what do you do? Do that voodoo that you do so well.
Set the scene for me again. We're coming down the hill, so they're down the hill below us.
No, you're now on a flat portion. The hill has flattened out. The forest, the kind of major part of the forest begins. You're in the trees now. Everything's within about 80 feet of you. The unicorn is trapped in a tree. There's a white standing next to it, attacking, and every you and your friends and all of these creatures are more or less within about a 60-foot area. You know, some of the further of you, Talid, Neno, previously Neno, are back behind.
Of tactical note, Inkatink and Diamondback have both already focused offensive spells on the white in particular. And the one from Diamondback makes the white more vulnerable to physical attacks.
It'll be easiest to hit the white of anything.
Right.
So your most effective use of force is against the white.
The white is also the scariest, probably, thing that we can see here. It's got like a crazy, glowing magic ghost sword.
The white and the banshee are both pretty intense.
Yeah.
And the unicorn has, you said, this spear through it and it's tangled in the tree or something?
The spear is wedged in its flank, which is just in front. It's like in its stomach. It's like in its stomach, just in front of its rear leg. And it was apparently sticking out and has tried to run through the trees, but it was just running through the trees. But the spear got wedged with it in the trees, and it's stuck between these two trees.
Okay. And let's see, can I run to it without going not right up at one of these, without running past any of these guys?
Without running within about 5 feet of them, yeah. You can run. If you go up to the unicorn close enough to touch it like Neno did, you'll be within 5 feet of one ghoul and actually within 5 feet of the ghoul, white, and banshee. And sorry, two ghouls, the white and the banshee, and the unicorn and Neno.
Okay. I am going to run up to the unicorn, attempt to pull the spear out.
The end of the spear is wedged against a tree, and the unicorn's on the other part. You won't be able to pull it out of either because it's like locked in. That's what caused it to get caught.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like it went, and the butt of it is caught in the tree like a really jammed in stick.
If it's made of wood, you could try and break it in half.
Yeah, can I try to just break it?
Sure. What are you going to use for that? And I'll try to come up with a reasonable roll for you.
Well, I only really have this staff.
That would be the thing that I would do.
Okay.
Knock it up.
Maybe I will. Oh
Imagine
man,
you have a spear on your side. Do you want someone to run?
I
up
never got
and
one of
hit
those
it with their
hatchets that
staff?
Josh said I should get. Yeah, that's what I have in hand.
Okay. So you're gonna.
I mean,
This
you can
unicorn
also
has a
attack.
spear sticking in its side, and you're gonna come and hit the spear really hard.
Boom. Yeah,
Ready?
I don't know. How.
You can also just attack the white. I mean, if you don't have the tool for the job and you think it's a bad idea, you don't have to do it just because you said it.
It does seem like a situation from that.
No, your lips are frozen too.
Is there some spell like break wood or something?
Yes, break wood.
Opposite of bend?
Something firing?
If you have healing magic, that you could use to help the unicorn.
Well,
I,
you
like-
don't want it to like absorb the spear. I mean, I don't know if that's how it works, but
It probably worked perfectly.
perfectly.
Well, I
Unicorn
guess
with
if I
two
go up and I
horns.
see real quick and it looks wood,
On either side.
could I like do try to do a contained firebolt on it?
Sure. I mean, you can shoot a firebolt at the. Do you have a component for that, or
Yeah, I believe so.
you just tell me what you want to do? I'm okay with you also hitting it. I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Everybody was looking at me like I had some egg in my beard or some stupid in my mouth. Yeah, I have some sap of the pig branch tilia.
You have stuff for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so any flammable object hit by it ignites if it isn't being worn or carried. This, I don't know if
It's being worn and carried.
I was going to say it's kind of an interesting.
Okay.
I'm going to say you could hit it, but it will just kind of
Oh, what about flame blade?
go
that
for
sounds
it.
good.
It has to combine
See if I
power
have-
of
You don't
burning
really
and
want it
cutting.
to.
Yes.
You don't really want it to catch on fire. So maybe the blade.
So
Mr. DM, it seems like he wants to attempt some sort of surgical intervention on the unicorn, which he might
that
be
is
able
what
to
it
make
is.
a
Medicine check. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That's super helpful. So you want to try to do some sort of like medical intervention for this right now. You're trying to alleviate the immediate problem of the spear in its flank.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. That sounds good. Let us
Cast healing on it, and the healing pushes the spear out.
Into the tree.
here's what I'll let you
The
do.
tree's like, ow.
So this is not the same as advantage. This is an interesting. Well, I don't know what the impact is on here. I would like for you to roll. I'm trying to pull up your character sheet right now. I'd like for you to roll me a medicine check and a strength check. So the strength check uses your strength bonus. This is going to be attempting to unlodge the thing, doesn't hurt it. I'm going to give you a strength check of, let's call it a 14.
Okay.
It was lodged with a horse running into a tree.
Yeah.
Strength, and not to damage it, the unicorn. I mean, I'm going to give you a. Let's see. You're going to try to use strength to do it on a DC 16 medicine check. That's a good plan.
Okay.
And you could inspire yourself.
That seems very hard.
Succeeding on that, you will dislodge it. If you succeed on the doing that, dislodge it, including pulling the thing out of its flank. If you fail on the strength check, you won't get it out. If you fail on the medicine check, it'll take 1d4 damage.
Okay. I will try to do that.
Okay.
Can I roll one?
So this one's your what check? Strength first.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
You get a +2 for your strength.
Okay, 14.
So you made it. That was the thing for this.
Okay.
Now your medicine check, and for our listening group audience, is a +1. So
Gently.
he actually is able. Yoshika runs up, lays his hands on this gnarled spear, and is able to yank it out and dislodge it from the tree.
Do you have inspiration?
No, not right now.
So he is able to successfully get it out. Let's find out if it's if that hurts the thing or not. You have a +1 on this check on a DC 16.
Okay. Yoshika doesn't feel so good about medicine. Unless he can talk his way through it. 6.
Okay, so it takes 1d4 damage, right?
Okay.
Which you want
And
me to
then-
roll?
Yeah.
3 damage.
And then as my bonus action, I am going to do a mantle of inspiration on me, Neno, the unicorn, and not Dwight, Belvari. We can all move up to our full speed without provoking an opportunity. You get 5 temporary hit points. And I guess that mends the unicorn's wound a little bit.
It
Wait,
gives
but
the unicorn 5 temporary hit points. Okay.
Yeah.
But
What did you
also,
say? Go ahead.
the unicorn can instantly move, right?
Yeah.
Now it
You
can
can-
move.
You can all
Yeah.
get out from inside of this circle of terrible devils.
That's what he's saying.
Let's jump on
Yeah.
its back. And then I'm going to try to jump on its back and say, let's go.
The unicorn is unwilling to have
You want
random people
I instantly
from the
slide down and
woods.
run.
that could have been a great never-ending story right there.
You know, in Family Circus, the little dotted line.
Yeah.
It goes onto the back.
That's right. Jumps off. Okay, so you immediately get to move your full run speed. Is that how that
Full
works?
Movement speed.
Full movement speed,
Full-
which
yeah.
yep, that sounds good. So Yoshka, which direction do you want to run? You're now up here with the unicorn. You are right in the center with the unicorn. You won't have an opportunity attack, but the white, 2 of the ghouls are behind it. The white's in front of it, and the banshee is between you and your party. But you can kind of, dodge around and not get too close. Although you actually don't have to worry about the dodging. If you were just to run in a straight line back the way you came, you would make it about to the center of your group, 30-ish feet away. So you'd be, around where Belvari is paralyzed, Diamondback is, Talid.
I probably want to go a different way just to kind of spread out. Maybe the opposite direction so we have them surrounded. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Got 'em right where we want 'em.
Neno, what would you do here?
Um,
You know that you can flee and not be attacked for a few moments.
Because of how cool Yoshko looked.
That was
Suddenly,
really nice.
His hair suddenly looks so good.
That's right.
Even the undead stop. Their mouths hang even lower.
The-
One of them's jaw actually falls off.
The sheen on the unicorn's fur may have glistened slightly less compared to your hair.
it's definitely hero.
Diamondback finds himself asking, what kind of gel is that?
That's right.
Can I say
Neno,
something?
what do you do here? Again, all of your friends are in a group. The unicorn is now freed and starts bolting, but you can't tell the direction it's getting out of the trees. In the and Yoshi into the night.
Oh, okay. I think she would take a step after Yoshida, but then change her mind and go yet a third cardinal direction. Spreading the crowd out more. She wants to keep all the enemies in her sight, so she's going to slide that direction.
So you're going to run past the unicorns, where the back end of the unicorn, where the 2 ghouls were biting. You're going to flee back to where the unicorn had been running from.
Yeah, the same
Okay.
direction I came in to touch the unicorn. I'm going to retreat as soon as I realize I can.
You came in from the unicorn's front side, and you're going to retreat.
Oh, not my imagination. Okay.
You're
All right,
gonna
I
take back to your
will-
friends?
No, I'm not going to go back to my friends. I'm going to step off to the side so I can see as many of the bad guys as possible.
All right.
I would go as far as you can also.
I don't want to go farther than spellcasting distance.
So sorry, you're going past the direction of the unicorn where it came from. Okay. The unicorn continues bolting in the direction running where there aren't any visible opponents, but it gets past the white and is now far from, possibly at the farthest point from anybody, in the party there. And it is grateful, surely, deep in its heart somewhere, maybe in its flank. There is a ghoul right next to Lambrel and Teko that they were going to attack. Teko also attacks at this ghoul, which he hits for. Oh, nope, there's this guy. He's got his normal hunting equipment that he uses for, deer and whatnot. And he does a nice bit of damage to it. He runs up as Lambrel was kind of, the three of them are just to get there. Lambrel, Teko, and this ghoul. Lambrel has swung at it. The ghoul gets hit. And Teko takes advantage of the opportunity, comes up behind it, and just buries a hatchet right in its ribs. It takes 6 damage. Belvari.
Can I go back and mention I would try to get a tree between me and them if just easy with my movement. Not to hide, but at least be kind of obscured.
There are some trees here. Yeah, absolutely. 2 of them obviously that the unicorn was stuck in, and others. Belvari, you are paralyzed. Standing there, directly in front of you is the ghoul, Belvari, that scratched at you.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit to your left and forward ahead of you, towards where the unicorn was, is the Banshee.
Mm-hmm.
And your friends, Diamondback's right next to you, basically, and your other friends are behind you a little bit.
Gotcha. I do nothing on my turn and then try to get out of my paralyzation.
Okay, sounds good. Roll a DC 10 con saving throw.
Another 5. I've rolled 2 1s.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Roll me another DC, just a regular D20, and I want to see the intensity of that failure.
6.
So you fall, still paralyzed, and you're laying stiff on the ground.
Gotcha.
Toll, it is your turn. You've just seen all this happen. The unicorn has been freed. You were the last to arrive here with your initiative roll of 1. What do you do?
Yeah, I guess I will go for the white. Can I use a bonus action before I use my attack action?
Yeah, in any order. Any of the actions in any order.
Okay, so I'm going to use
Except
my
for
bonus action.
reactions.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. That makes sense. So I will cast Shillelagh on my Morris staff. And so it says that the damage die for the weapon that you cast Shillelagh on becomes a D8. It's already a D8 if I wield it with 2 hands. So does it become a D10 if I wield it with 2 hands?
It's already a D8 one-handed.
Right. Yeah, it becomes a D8 one-handed when you cast Shillelagh.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do a 2-handed D10 now. I'm up for that.
Okay, cool. I will approach the white and swing. And what is the other thing that spell does? You can use your spellcasting ability instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls.
And you have advantage on this attack because the white has fairy fire.
Oh, good.
Don't forget.
I like my odds then. And I think I get a +2. Yeah, I do. Okay, so I will roll to hit. 13 plus another 2. That's 15. And that is 11 plus another 2, 13. So 15.
Its AC is 14. You do hit.
That was a close one. All right. And then a D10 plus 4. Wow, only a 2, so 6 damage.
All right. So you bring this down, and the white is, let's say, sorry, 6 damage. You bring this down with a kind of diagonal overhead pull on this. This white, you can hear the cracking of some of its. Sorry, hold on one sec. Okay, you can hear the cracking of some of its supposedly, you suppose, bones as your shillelagh just lays into it. It takes a significant blow and is wounded, turning its head, and you draw its attention and ire. That is the end of this turn, our first turn of combat, and it's also going to be the end of our episode tonight. To be respectful of each person's time, it is 10:10 right now. So we will pick up next week with a greatly imperiled unicorn, now less so, and sprinting from action.
Probably the safest of all.
Which is
Probably.
all I ran down the hill for, so I did what I wanted to do.
Great. You led the charge, Leroy. You are, all of you, in this pitched combat. And we'll pick up right at this. I've got a diagram of it. We'll pick up right at this spot next time. What you do know is that your charge, just to round out the evening to give you a sense of what's happened here, your charge for the evening more or less boils down to, if you don't die, maybe you'll have a place to live. You've got to
have a place to be buried.
You've got to survive the night. You have already picked out a place. If you were to go back up the hill, you have already picked out a shelter, which, with a sudden realization, Yoshka realized won't take an hour after all. Not sure whether or not he pitches that as due to his prowess. And so what you want to do is do your best to, I assume, take care of these foes one way or another, and then make it to the place where you'll shelter. The last thing just to let you know about that is everyone who can take advantage of the shelter has to be in the circle that the shelter provides. In the circle that the shelter provides for the entire minute of casting. So if you're casting, one person leaves, comes back in, they won't be inside the tiny hut. Okay?
Also, when anyone leaves, the whole tiny head goes away. I don't know if that would.
Is that the case?
Yeah.
Good to know. I will read
I
up
thought we
more on that.
established that you can come and go.
I thought I remembered that, but I'll read up on it and I'll canonize it next time. Sorry, what'd you say?
Yeah, you can't. As soon as you leave, it goes away.
Okay. What we will do is pick up here next time. I will let you, that gives you players a week to mull over whether you want to try to slaughter these undead or flee, or maybe something about the unicorn. I'll leave it to you. You do also know that you have an ally or two near the lake, though are they reachable by you? Who knows? All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you guys for playing, and we will pick up next time from here. Have a great night.